I got a chance to ask Kirby Smart about his offensive line this week. I was of the assumption, and still am, that they've played better as the season's gone on. Here's what he had to say in reaction to me. He says, "In spurts, we've played better. Certainly the production has been better. I think they're a little more comfortable. I can't really explain the Arkansas game other than we didn't move guys and didn't execute very well." So I think he's right about that. And you notice, too, that beginning of that Arkansas game, Georgia was just trying to get its offense functional. Whenever you score 5 points and a half, things aren't going well. For Georgia to score 5 points against Arkansas, a team, you're on the road, okay, but that's their worst half, with the exception of the second half of the Alabama game where they had 2 turnovers. So the offensive line, to me, has gelled in a way that you expected, but maybe not as quickly as it's come because of how many people they did play early in the season. But this line is critical to the success of the program. If you're Georgia and you can establish the run the way they've done in pretty well all of their games except the beginning of the Arkansas game, if you can establish the run, you can do a lot of things. You can score 24 points against Alabama in a half. You can run Tennessee off the field. You can run Auburn off the field. You can do what you want to do against Arkansas and score 32 points in the second half. These are all things that are predicated on good play from the offensive line. And Georgia has players. Everything over here is where I'm looking at the roster. When you look at it, Schaefer, Cleveland, Jamari, Trey Hill, these guys have all played for a while. And now you've got McClendon coming in. They're not even playing young guys like Jones and Ratledge. They've got their group. You do have to wonder now if the second tier group, the guys that some of them were starting earlier in the season, Owen Condon, guys like that, are they now figuring their role out, and now they come in the third drive of the game, something like that. When you can throw 8-10 guys on an offensive line out of defense the entire game, that's just asking a lot for defensive guys. I don't care how good your defense is. If you're not rotating guys, if you're not playing a fair amount of guys, they're going to get tired. Big guys get tired. And let's just be honest, the defense doesn't know where the ball is going, so that makes it more complicated too. So this Georgia offensive line, if you're listening to Kirby, in spurts we have played better. Certainly the production has been better. I think they are a little more comfortable. They're definitely more comfortable. I mean, Stetson Bennett was not really pressured a lot in that Alabama game. That may have been because that's what Alabama wanted to do, but you got to think about it. How many times have you seen this season where Georgia just is kind of clawing for its life on the offensive line? It's not common, and that's what's so important about where they go from here. You have what's going to be two really rough and physical games that are going to determine the trajectory of the rest of this year. Kentucky, a team that is not in the same universe as Georgia, but is certainly as physical, and the Gators. Both of those games are coming up right now. We're within 8 days of both of those games. And if this offensive line plays well in both of those games, you'll see Georgia and Atlanta get another shot against the Tide. If that doesn't happen, people are going to be screaming and looking for bridges to jump off of. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. It's right here, right above me to the right. Insider newsletter, you're going to get all sorts of insider tidbits and information. You want to make sure you sign up for that. Thanks to everybody who's been doing so. We've been at a pile of signups. Thanks for listening, watching. We'll see you over on the website.